So you want to get your money right. Well, the first step to getting your money right is to get your mind right. But financial literacy doesn't teach financial psychology, and that's why I hosted this workshop. This video is part one of a two-part workshop on financial wellness that was inspired by my students' hunger to learn more about personal finance, but more importantly, their lack of an understanding about the mentality and psychological discipline required to have a healthy relationship with money and achieve sustainable financial wellness. For those who don't know me, I'm Ryan David, aka Mr. AB, and I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a psychology professor, as well as a personal leadership and holistic lifestyle coach. What I focus on are psychological strategies that are applicable to different areas of your life to help you achieve optimal performance. The area I'm focusing on in this workshop happens to be your relationship with money. In part one, I introduce you to concepts and strategies to help you understand the mentality you'll need to develop and adopt to cultivate a healthy relationship with money. Then in part two, I share some information and talk about some strategies relating specifically to your finances. Things like bank accounts, budgets, credit cards, investments to help you start your financial journey. Chapters are time-stamped in this video for your convenience if you want to go back and review a certain section of the workshop. But without further ado, get a cup of coffee or tea, grab a notepad, and enjoy part one. This conversation today really was inspired by, I'm going to go without a mic, by the way. It was inspired by conversations I'd have with my students, more so reactions I'd have from my students in my classes. Whenever I would talk about money and I would just try to share a little bit of information just about how an interest rate works or compound interest or credit cards, looks on the faces of my students and the confusion and the surprise when I would give them information just on how things worked. I thought, you know what? I don't remember getting this information at 18, 20 either, but I thought there's no reason why I can't put something together. I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time. And again, it's just going to glaze the surface of what's possible and what you can learn about money, but there's got to be a starting point. And I just want to have a conversation about a starting point. So today's workshop is just a starting point for you to start your relationship, a healthy relationship with money. And I call it financial wellness because really that's what it is. I talk about holistic. I'm a life coach, a holistic life coach, a personal leadership life coach. So I talk about holistic wellness, which is you need to crush every area of your life, not just your physical health, not just your academics, but your finances, your relationships, your communication. There's a lot of areas of your life that you need to do well at to be well holistically, and finances is one of those areas. And it doesn't matter how well you do in your relationships or, with your academics, but if your finances, if you don't have a good relationship with money, if you don't have a healthy relationship with money, that's going to trickle into and affect every other area of your life. So this balance is really important. So I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time. And like I said, there's so much information. I started putting this together and I thought there's no way I'm going to get this done in 45 minutes. It's impossible. So we'll probably cut short a little bit of the information I have at the end, but don't worry, I'm going to put that into a part two. And I want to see all of y'all back if you can make it for part two. In a little bit, I'm going to call up the credit union, our guest here today. They're going to talk a little bit about some technical things at the end, but I want to dive right into first my area of expertise, which is psychology. You talk about money and your relationship with money, but a lot of things in life we think about, how do we do it? What do we do? What do we do? How do we do it? And the how and the what really nowadays with the internet is easy. It's all out there. You just Google something, it'll tell you how and what to do, how to lose weight, how to make money. It's all out there. How and what to do, it's all out there. That's what I've found is that's not the most important part, actually. The most important part is your mentality and your mindset, the reasons why you're doing what you're doing, your decision-making skills. So I focus on psychology, which is about 80%, I think, of your relationship with anything you do. You got to focus on your psychology. So with money, it's no different. So I'm going to talk about the psychology behind what I think you all need to build up to help you with your finances. And then I'll end a little bit with some of the mechanics, because that is the technical part that you do need to know. But if you don't have the mentality or the mindset, it's all for nothing, is what I've seen and what I've witnessed. So like I say here, 80% psychology, 20% mechanics, and 80% is why. All right, 80% is why, and the 20% is how and what to do, okay? Now, there's a worksheet I gave you all. If you want to follow along, you can fill it in just to really help, consolidate this information for you, but something to take as well. So I have the worksheet there. So I'm going to focus on the psychology part, and what I want to do is I want to give you all a couple of lessons. But before I give you all a couple of lessons, talking about money, there's a lot of conversation about money. Plenty of conversations about money, and there's a lot of quotes out there. A couple quotes talking about the importance of money, and I'm going to ask you all a question here in a moment just to think about. A couple quotes about money. Money isn't everything, money isn't everything. And a little quote from Zig Ziglar, money isn't everything, but it's right out there with oxygen. This just kind of pokes fun at how important money is to a lot of people, and just in general, he's poking fun at that one. Another one from Les Brown, they say money don't make you happy, but everybody wants to find out for themselves. It's like, I tell you money won't make you happy, but let me get a lot of money and find out. So those are some quotes, and that's really a sentiment that you get very often when people talk about money. It's kind of like, yeah, it's not everything, but let me find out. Yeah, it's not everything, but man, it seems really important to me. So a couple of those quotes here just to start out with. And I want to give you all 3 lessons with the psychology behind this. But first thing I want you to think about is why. Why do you want more money? Why do you want more money? Why do you want money? Why do you want to earn money? Why do you want to make money? Why? The why is your reasons, and your reasons are going to drive your intentions. They're going to drive your behaviors. You got to ask yourself why. Why are you chasing money? Why do you want money? Why do you want to make money? That's really important just to set the foundation. That's going to be running in the background, your reasons. And this goes to every area of your life, by the way. Why? Okay? 3 lessons I want to give you as quick as I can. We'll see, but I really want to make sure that you understand them and you grasp them. And the first lesson is a basic one, and I've taught this in my class, and I teach it every single semester, and I live by this principle. But when it comes to money, the first thing you need to understand and you need to accept is money does not equal happiness. Money does not equal happiness. And you might think, well, whoa, wait a second. You know, I've heard it said, and I agree with it. If you think money doesn't buy happiness, you don't know where to shop. You've heard that quote before too. Well, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, and I'm going to talk about what that person's talking about when they say, if you think money doesn't buy happiness, you don't know where to shop. I'm going to focus on that, but I want to make sure I'm clear about what I mean by happiness. We got to define happiness. When I say money doesn't equal happiness, what I mean is getting money, having money, stacks of green paper, is not going to lead to happiness by my definition, which is contentment, peace of mind, gratification, fulfillment as a person. I don't care how much money you have. It's not going to make you fulfilled or content. All right. That's what I mean by money doesn't equal happiness. OK, so money does not equal happiness in that long lasting, authentic gratification type of happiness. OK, so what does money do? Well, money equals opportunity. That's what it does. Money equals opportunity. You say, well, opportunity for what, Mr. AB? What are we talking about here? Opportunity for what? Money equals opportunity, and opportunities are endless, it seems as though. What are we talking about? Well, the first one we're talking about is an opportunity to get more pleasure. And this is where most people confuse the concept of money equals happiness, because more money does equal more pleasure if you want that, and people confuse pleasure for happiness. So they think, well, more money, more pleasure, I'll be happy. That's a mistake. I'm telling you right now, if the goal is to achieve more money to get more pleasure, you'll be dissatisfied for the rest of your life, because you'll habituate to the pleasure, you'll get used to it, and you'll want what? More of that thing, more of that stuff, more of that food, more of that drug. You'll just want more. Pleasure is not going to last. So you can get more pleasure with money. There's an opportunity to get more pleasure. What else is there an opportunity for? Health. You can take care of your health. I'll tell you real quick, like for years, I wanted to do cryotherapy. It's fancy freeze, and it's like a method of getting your inflammation down. I got to have money for that. I recently did cryotherapy. Finally made enough money to do a cryotherapy. Get massage every couple weeks, every month. Take care of your body. Health, man, to take care of your health, invest in your health. Buy the right foods, quality foods. There's a big opportunity, and I'm not going to deny that, to buy better foods, to take care of yourself, to invest in the treatments, in the resources out there to take care of yourself. So there's a great opportunity, if you have more money, to invest in yourself and your health. Experience. You can do more things. You can experience more of what the world has to offer, more of what life has to offer if you have more money. There's no denying that either. What else? Freedom. Time. If I can pay someone to wash my car, cut my grass, do my dishes, and cook my food, I can go out and do whatever else I want to do with my time. I don't got to do those things. I don't have to do those things with my time. That's freeing me up. So absolutely, money can afford you some freedom in terms of time. Exploration. You can explore whatever you want to do, depending on the amount of money that you have. You can get into little hobbies and interests and research or whatever you want to do. Contribution. You can give more. You can donate more. You can help others. You can assist others. So you absolutely can contribute more if you have more money. Does it give you that opportunity? Convenience leads to convenience. Obviously, if you have more money, you can do the things that are more convenient for us. I mean, think about the things that we do that we take for granted. I mean, having a cell phone in your pocket is a form of convenience. I don't have to go find a phone on the wall to call somebody. It's right there. We take it for granted, but that's a convenience that we have that a big percentage of the world doesn't have. And you can afford that convenience because you have the money to afford that phone. And lastly here, safety and protection and comfort, all right? That money is going to allow you to get out of that area that you live in that might be dangerous or problematic. I live in a gated community. I'm 43 years old. Finally, I live in a gated community, but I moved to a gated community. I can afford that now. But you might want to say, hey, I want to put a security system on my house. I want to put up a gate. I want to protect my family in some type of way. I want to move to a safer environment, whatever. Money can afford you that opportunity. So don't get it twisted. Money's great, but money doesn't lead to happiness. Money leads to opportunities for you to do more things in your life, okay? And I want to also make sure I make it very crystal clear. There's nothing wrong with money. Money ain't the devil. Money ain't a problem. Money is amazing. Just don't go chasing money trying to get happy. Get money, but don't go getting money trying to get money thinking that when you get money, you'll be happy. Because like I said, you'll be highly dissatisfied. Because you'll think that mountaintop where all that money is where I need to be, so I'm happy. You'll get to that mountaintop and you'll look around and be like, I thought I was going to be happy when I got this money. And then you're not, but you have money, so then where do you go? You get the idea? Money makes you more of what you already are. Another quote.
Money makes you more of what you already are. Focus on who you are. If you're nice, if you're kind, if you're generous, you're going to be even more so with money. So be mindful about who you are, because money's just going to magnify who you are. So what's the lesson? Well, it's pretty simple. Pursue money for opportunities in life, not for happiness. Go get money, but get money for the opportunities and the things that it will afford you and your loved ones. Don't go get it and think that you're going to be happy. Lesson number 2. The goal with money is to retain and maintain money, not just to attain it. What do I mean by attain it? Just to get it. You don't just want to get money. You want to keep the money you have. And more importantly, you want to make that money grow. You want to increase that amount of money. So getting money is just the first step, and it's important, and I'm going to talk about that in a moment. But the goal is not just to attain money. It's to maintain the money you have. It's to retain. It's to keep it. I think Tom Brady said it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep. The 3 M's. This is just something I had real short and sweet, a way to remember and think about when talking about attaining and retaining money. Okay, the 3 M's. What are they? Number 1 is make. You got to make money. If you're broke, you have nothing, you're at zero, you have to make money. So making money obviously is a big part. It's a big deal. It's the first step. You got to make money. Number 2, you got to manage that money that you make. You got to know how to manage that money that you make. So you got to make money, you got to manage what you have, and then ideally what you want to learn how to do is you want to multiply that money. You want to have that money multiply. So the 3 M's, make, manage, and multiply. All right? Make, manage, and multiply. Number 1, make. What do I mean by make money? Create income. There's a lot of ways, million ways to create income. What are we talking about though? Make money, create income, okay? Create income. How do we do that, Mr. AB? How do we create income? Well, I'm going to give you 3 recommendations. There's a lot of ways out there. Like I say, I just know what I know. I'm going to just tell you what I know. 3 recommendations how to make money. Number 1, and I think most importantly, is develop the mindset that value equals revenue. Value equals revenue. What do I mean by that? Add value, you will receive income. You will be paid and compensated for what you put out. And I was thinking about this recently, and you think about today's day and age, a lot of people, they want more money for doing the same thing, especially young folks. I want a raise. Why should you get a raise? You're doing the same thing you did last year. What do you want a raise for? Oh, inflation. Sure, we can increase minimum wage because, balance out inflation, but you want a raise for what? If you're going to go to your boss, you're going to go to your superior and you're going to say, hey, look, I'd like a raise. They should be able to say, for what? And you should be able to say, for doing X, Y, and Z, that's not in my job description, but that I've been helping out with around here for 6 months. You're adding value. You're worth more than you're getting paid for. Does that make sense? You have to be able to add value, but we don't want to do that. What do we want to do? We want to do the bare minimum. I ain't doing that. That ain't in my job description. Nuh-uh. I'm going to do the bare minimum. You're going to get paid the bare minimum. So you have to, and you're going to have to invest a little bit, and I'm going to talk about investment in a minute. You're going to have to sacrifice, especially when you're young, though, you can do that. Do more than you're being paid for. Because either they're going to pay you more eventually to where you're at and say, look, they're doing a lot. Let's bump them up. Their response was give them a manager position. Or someone else is going to come along and be like, you're only getting paid X, Y, and Z. You're just a server. You want to be a manager at my restaurant? Boom. Because you're hustling, because you're providing value. You have to adopt this mentality. Value is where it's at. And it's the opposite of what most people want to do. We don't want to do more than we're asked. We don't want to do more than we can. We want to do the bare minimum. Because it takes effort, it takes time. But you have to start thinking, how do I add value? And at first, you might feel like you're not being compensated for it. But you're developing skills, and eventually it's going to pay off. Add value. That's number 1, I recommend. Number 2, develop the talents that you already have. Find out what you're naturally good at. What are your talents? And you might not know yet, so explore them. But if you do know, develop them. Develop them in a way that they're marketable. You have to develop the talents that you have. And then number 3, learn new skills. Wide range of skills. So when I got hired full-time as a professor here at this campus, sure, I'm a teacher. I'm an educator, but I have a number of other skills too. I was a former counselor in the school system, life coach, speaker. I have a wide range of skills now that help me with the one particular job. So if you have a wide range of skills, they go in that resume. Look, I'm really, really good at this, my expertise, but I also know how to do X, Y, and Z. So you learn some other skills that you're not really necessarily good at right now, but that might help you be marketable and might help you add value. Number 2 is manage. And this is all about budgeting effectively. You have to manage the money you have. What does that mean? Budget effectively. What do I mean effectively? Well, I have a couple of terms here just for you to apply to your budgeting. I want you to keep in mind. Think about these things. 3 terms here. Number 1 is be mindful. Be mindful. When you're mindful, you're paying attention to what you're paying attention to. Be mindful. Pay attention. And what am I talking about here? Pay attention to your money. What do most people not want to do? They don't want to look at their money. They don't want to talk about how much money they have. They don't want to think about how much money's in the bank account. You just don't want to address their money. You have $17 in your name. You be mindful of those $17. It's not going to change. It's there. You have to be mindful of your money, and specifically what you can do is be mindful of your budget. I update my budget once a month. It don't change for 6 months at a time. I update it every month. What's changed? What's going on? What's happening? Income change, new bill, change rate. Be mindful of your money. Where are you? You have to know where you are. Be mindful. Number two, you got to be consistent. I mean, this is with everything. If you're working out, if you're trying to change your diet, consistency is key. And consistency has to do with self-discipline, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But you got to be consistent with what you're doing. So be consistent with whatever you're doing with your money. Be consistent whether it's putting the money aside, or whether it's saving money for this, or whether it's checking your budget. You have to be consistent. And number three, be frugal. Now, frugal is a dirty word to a lot of people. They associate frugal. They think frugal means cheap. Absolutely not. What does frugal mean? Well, let's look at the definition of frugal. The quality, and it is a quality, of being frugal, sparing, thrifty, prudent, or economical in the consumption of consumable resources, such as food, time, or money, and avoiding waste, lavishness, or extravagance. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, frugality, being frugal, is the opposite of what the mainstream marketers and advertisers want you to be. They want you to spend your money. They want you to live a lavish lifestyle. They want you to live an extravagant lifestyle as quick and as fast as you can, because they make money. You have to understand, do I need this? Is this necessary? Do I have the money? Can I afford it even if I do want it? Being frugal is just checking yourself at the door. It's what's necessary. It's doing what's needed and not necessarily what you want. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in a second, but don't let frugal be a dirty word. One of the ways I got to where I am, I'm single, not married. Own my own home, got my own car. I got the money I have because I was frugal, and I had the privilege of learning from a guy who taught me a lot about money. I had a financial coach as a friend. We kind of bartered. I coached him with some things in his life. He coached me with finances, and I learned a heck of a lot. One of the first things I learned was how to be frugal. And what that did was it helped me with the money I needed to multiply. I started really with nothing, and then now my mentality is always, is it a necessity? If it's not, I'm going to keep that. For when it is something that I really, really want to have, frugality is huge. Look into being frugal. And again, it's going to be really hard for you all, because the marketers and the advertisers and mainstream corporations are trying to get you to do the opposite. There's a reason why there's a lot of industries that are concerned about the population falling and young folks not being as many young folks as there is. You guys drive the economy, all right? And if your numbers fall, so do theirs. They want y'all. They want young people out there because y'all will spend money recklessly. Don't do that. Be frugal. Frugality includes all the other virtues. Cicero said that. Think about that. To be frugal, you got to have a lot of other qualities and aspects to you. So don't let frugal be a dirty word. Don't let people call you cheap because you're frugal, because they'll be having some lavish shoes or purse or a car they can't afford, and you're going to be over here with stacks in the bank ready for your future, and they're going to be broke, pushing a lifestyle that they really can't afford. So don't worry about this, I'm frugal, I'm smart, I'm doing what's necessary, what's needed. Very, very important. What's the lesson? Oh, no, my bad, we're not there yet. The third M. The third M. Now, this is a little bit outside the scope of what we're talking about here. Once you learn the basics, you got to multiply your money. You got to create growth. You want your money to grow. You want your money to make money, okay? And what am I talking about here? How do we do that? Well, just a couple of concepts for you to jot down, note down, maybe Google, look into, talk to somebody else about them. 3 concepts. And number 1 is compound interest. I wish I had an hour just to talk about compound interest so you guys understood the value of time. If you think about compound interest, you better be thinking time, because compound interest works over time. It's when your money makes money on itself over time. If you start at 20, you make a lot more money by 60 than you do if you start at 40. A lot more money. Start now. I don't care if it's $25 a month. Put it somewhere where you can get a little money on that, because it'll grow. More time you have to grow, more money you'll make. Can't stress this one enough. Compound interest, critical. Long-term investments. Where can you put your money that it will grow and be there for you long term? Whether this is a Roth IRA account, whatever the case is, where can you invest your money long term? Maybe it's real estate down the road. How can you invest in your money now in a way it's going to be there long term? Just something to think about. And passive income. Passive income is you're making money without working. You're making money in your sleep. I think I saw a quote the other day, and you're not rich until you're making money while you sleep, or you're not going to get rich unless you make money while you're asleep. And so this could be selling products on the internet, it's just up there in your shop. It could be YouTube views that you're monetizing and they're watching your views and that money's getting kicked into your account. There's a number of ways, and don't just take those two as the only ways. This is just top two off the top of my head, but passive income is huge. Whatever that case is, you want to do something, and again, add value that's out there for people to consume that you're not working for all the time. When you go to a job and you have your career, you go to work, you're trading your time for money. You're investing your time and you're getting money in return, hopefully. But passive income, that's just money that you're making without any effort, without any work. Now, you might have to put effort in and work in initially, but start looking at passive income. You want to have a little stream of income or a big stream of income. You want to have income that's passive. So look into passive income. That's a big deal as well. And again, you don't have to make millions off passive income, but heck, man, an extra $50 a month that I don't even have to think about that just shows up in my bank account, that's money. And stop thinking that money's got to have a certain, amount to it. I make extra $50 a month. I'm geeked about that. That's $50. I mean, it's just $50. I hear people all the time, well, you're just saving $5. $5? What do you mean? That's how I think. I'm saving it. And so, and again, that goes to something that I was going to say, I think earlier, when I talked about money makes you more of what you already are. A lot of people want more money. They want more money, want more money. I want more money. A lot of people want more money, but they can't handle the money they have. You got $100 and you're going to mismanage that. You're going to mismanage 100,000. I'll give it to you today. It'll be gone in less than a year. So be real mindful of this idea that money is just, something that's just going to work on. You got to invest some time and some effort into it. So multiply. You want to do that one, okay? Lesson here is making money is a waste of time if you can't keep it. I mean, I'm trying to keep some money. I'm not just trying to make it. It's gone. I got to make it again. Nah, I'm trying to keep it. I have money while I'm making more. So 3 M's. Got to make it. You got to manage it. You got to multiply the money you have. All right? Little quote from me. I was thinking about this recently. I think I tweeted it out recently. Your body's a reflection of your lifestyle, but your bank account, that's a reflection of your mindset. There's so much about your mindset that's reflected in your relationship with money. Okay? And when I say mindset, mainly what I'm talking about is your self-discipline. Okay? And when I say self-discipline, I mean self-discipline in a couple of key areas that relate to your finances, that relate to your money. Okay? And so think about this for a second. Your emotions. If you're very impulsive, if you have a hard time regulating your emotions, you're going to be impulsive and you're going to be reactive and you're going to spend money in moments that you probably shouldn't because of your emotional state. You got to have self-discipline and have self-mastery. You got to be disciplined when it comes to your emotions. Your emotions are going to drive your behavior. So self-discipline absolutely applies to your emotions. Big deal. Priorities. You got to be disciplined in having your priorities straight. Your priorities are going to drive your behavior too. What's important? What should I buy right now? What do I need to put money into versus not? That's it. That's priorities. Self-discipline there. And then your decisions. The decision on what to get, what not to get, what to buy, what not to buy, when to invest, not to invest, what to invest in, not to invest in. These areas are really, really critical. And what do they have to do with self-discipline? You notice I'm not talking about money at all. I'm talking about your psychology and your mentality. You master this, money's going to come easy for you because you're going to have an understanding of your own behavior and where money will fit into it. Money's just a tool. You need to have a relationship with that tool. So self-discipline is critical. What do we got? Now versus later. Feeling like doing something now versus wanting to have it later. Okay? Looking at the contrast between these things. Expenses versus investments. Expenses versus investments. Number one, should I buy it now or should I save up and just get it later? Should I really go on a splurge now or is it something I can get later on? I feel like buying that right now versus, well, I want to have something else later. So instead of buying what I feel like buying right now, I'm going to save that and buy what I really want later on. You might not think about these things if you're just in the moment, don't have the self-discipline. And then expenses versus investments. That's a mentality all in and of itself. Expenses versus investments. Investment mentality is next. Investment mentality. Expenses versus investments. An expense is something you put out money and you maybe exchange it for something else, but expenses, it's money lost, hopefully in return for something. Expenses, something that cost you money, versus investment. Yes, I'm going to give up or sacrifice or put money in and invest it, but it's going to kick out more of something else that I want, if not money. So expenses versus investment. Is what you're doing an expense or an investment? Meaning, is it going to be lost once you do it, once that exchange happens, and that's it? Or is it an investment going to pay dividends back to you later on? So understand the difference between expenses and investments. The investment mentality, I thought about this parallel between time and money. And when you think about what you do with your time, and I also thought about something really interesting too, being that I'm 43 and I have already been 18, I thought about the view and the relationship that I had with time and money when I was younger and the one I do now, and I thought about where you all would be. And I think it's interesting when you look at it, and you guys let me know if you don't agree with this one, but when you're young, you want more money because you don't have a lot, and you ain't worried about time because you got plenty. At least you think you do, right? You're 18, 20, hey, I got 60, 70 years. Time ain't an issue, but I want money now. Guess what, when you get 60, guess what you want more of? Time. And you probably got money. You're like, I don't really care about money. I want more time. It's funny how that flips. So right now, just think about, one, how you want more money. You will want more time later on one day. But what you do with your time, your relationship with time, really oftentimes parallels how you'll handle money as well. What do you do with your money? So what can you do with your time? Well, the first thing you can do with your time is, unfortunately, something that way too many of y'all do way too often. You waste it. You do something that is not beneficial, counterproductive. You waste it. And that time you will never get back. Now, you can make more money, you can't get more time. That's true. But with your time, you can waste it. Same thing with money. You can waste it, blow it, it's gone. Not only do you not have that money anymore, you don't have anything to show for it, and you'll never get that exact money again. You could waste it. What else can you do? Well, you could spend it. You could decide to spend your time. Expenses, spend. I'm going to spend my time doing this. I'm going to spend my money on this. Intentionally, yes, I'm going to exchange. I'm going to spend my money. You could spend it. What else can you do? You could save it. You could save that money for later. How do you save time? Well, like I say, if you can pay someone to do whatever you need to be doing, you have that time now that you wouldn't have. You're saving time in a sense. You could save your money too. Okay, so these are just ways to look at what you can do with your money and how you can invest it. And lastly, what can you do? You can invest your time. You can invest your money. Invest. What does that mean? I'm going to sacrifice or invest, put something in an attempt to get more out. So you are exchanging, but it's an attempt and it's investing in something later on or something more. So I would encourage you to move towards an investment mentality. What can I do with my time to invest in myself? What can I do with my time to invest in my relationships? What can I do with my time to invest in my health? Well, what can you do with your money to invest to get more later on? So this investment mentality, I think, is very critical. We're doing better on time than I thought. This is good. I'm going a little fast. And my students, you guys know, I get to talking pretty fast, so I'm trying to pace myself a little bit here, a little bit pressed on time. So an investment mentality just gets you to look at what are you doing in terms of investing versus wasting, spending, or saving? Because these are all possibilities. These are things that you do right now. What's the lesson? Self-discipline. Self-discipline. Most important skill you can develop for financial wellness, hands down. Now there's trading skills and investing skills, but I'm talking about like as far as personal skills, personal growth, this self-discipline is it. Because self-discipline is going to show up anywhere you're at. If you have to invest, if you have to close a business deal, if you have to decide what property, all those things, self-discipline is going to show up at that moment no matter what else you have to do. Very, very important. Okay? Now, glad that we're good on time. I talked about, that's a little brief conversation about what I think is very critical as far as your psychology. All right, the background on understanding your own behavior and what you need to do to self-regulate in a way that'll help you with your relationship with money, okay? So that's the psychology of it all. That's the 80%. But what about that 20%? What about the mechanics? Because right now, Mr. AB, you told me a lot about me, about you, but you haven't really told me much about money. Like, where do I go? Where do I start? And so the how and the what is very important. The how and the what obviously isn't very important. You need to know how to make some money, how to earn some money, how to save some money, how to invest. You need to know what to do, how to start, what to do when you need to start. All those things that's the 20%, that's the mechanics. And in talking about the 20%, the mechanics that I talk about here, that's the stuff you need to know, the skills that you can really look up on Google. It's information's out there. What are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about having a bank account. A bank account. Just start with a bank account, all right? A budget. Do you have a budget? Do you know how to operate a budget? Do you have a budget? Okay, and I can share with you all a link if you want it. I'll leave my email and my social media information at the end of the slide here, at the very end of the program here. I'll leave it there. You can contact me. I have a link for just a simple budget, but they're everywhere. Get a budget. Get one that works for you. Get one that you understand. I'll talk more about budgets here in a moment. Credit. Do you understand credit? Are you scared of credit? Has somebody misinformed you about what credit is and how it works? All right, credit. How does a credit score work? The benefits and the plus side of credit cards, because a lot of people demonize them. You need to know these things. This is the mechanics of it all. Interest and investments, all right? Now, I only have a few more minutes, so this is going to be a teaser for what's to come in part 2, because I really wanted to get into some things that I think a lot of you all could benefit from. He talked about credit, and he talked about if you have bad credit, but I think for a lot of y'all is if you have zero credit at all, don't have any credit, haven't even started with credit, don't know how to start credit, because they're not just going to throw a credit card your way, generally speaking, if you don't have any credit. So I'll talk a lot more about credit in part 2. This is really what's going on with the checking account. And I was going to ask him while he was up here, but he can answer from back there. You know, I think, well, why do I need a checking account? Why do I need a checking? I'll just put my money under my mattress. Well, first of all, your mattress burns down, your money's gone, okay? Secondly, I'm sorry, if I put $100,000 in the bank, is that money insured?
Of course.
Up to $250,000, I believe, right? That money's insured. No matter what happens to that money in the bank, people think, oh, I don't put it in the bank, I don't trust the banks. Come on, get over it. That money's insured, okay? That money under your mattress, not insured, okay? So that's one reason why you at least should have a checking account. Now, you have a checking account, you can also use a debit card. I have an allergy to debit because I've moved over to credit because of where I am, but you got to start somewhere. I'll talk more about that later on. And one of the main reasons why is because when you use debit, you use your cash. When you use credit, you use somebody else's. If you use debit at the grocery store or at the pump and then there's some fraud, you got to go through a lot of hoops to get your cash back. I use my credit card and I swipe it at the pump and there's some fraud. That's not my money. I'll call the credit card company. They need to worry about getting their money back. That's just one teaser that's facts. That's one teaser as to why you want to learn and understand how to use credit. Credit will put you in the hole if you don't know how to use it. But that's on you. It's not on credit. Credit is amazing. But the first part of this workshop, your mentality, your mindset, that's going to be what's critical to be able to maximize your credit. We'll do that part too. So here you go in savings account. You're going to get a savings account along with your checking account if you open it there. But there are other savings account, depending on other savings accounts with different interest rates as well. So understanding savings, somewhere to put your money, save it, divide it up. That's one thing there. Budget, I don't have, but 6 minutes left to talk about budget. I wanted to do really quickly an exercise and really have you look at and see it, but I'll just tease this for you. When it comes to budgeting, what you have really are to understand 3 things here. First of all, income. How much money do you make? How much money do you have and do you make already? What's money coming in? Income, revenue, and earnings. How much money is coming in? $50 a week. Okay, that's your income, all right? What's your income? $2,000 a month. Okay, that's your income. Then, what are your expenses? What are your expenses? That's bills, that's debts. What are your expenses, money you have to pay with that money you get in? And then hopefully, after that, you have a balance. That's the money you have left over after you pay your bills. And the idea is to get to a place where you have money left over, all right? You want more money left over at the end of the month than you have month left over at the end of your money, Tony Robbins says. So what happens here? You have a budget, it's your income minus your expenses equals your balance. That's what it is. And unless you're mindful of it and pay attention to it, you're not going to know what that is. You're not going to be able to improve it. You're not going to know where you can cut, where you can save. So once you have that balance, what do? Ideally, you want to take that balance, and you can do a lot of other things that you want to, but ideally, you want to put some money in your savings. An emergency fund is huge. A couple $1,000s in case your transmission goes out on your car, or you have a hospital bill. You have that in savings. It's there, accessible. Savings account. You want to have an emergency fund. Investments, if you get to that point, you take what's money left over in the balance, boom, you put it in your Roth IRA. That's your retirement fund. And then you have some money left over for leisure too. Because I'm not a stiffler, I like to travel. I like to, I'm not some stick in the mud. I'll spend money on what I like. I actually like to spend money on food, and traveling. That's really much, I don't do the club anymore or the alcohol. It's not for me. I mean, I did that. But for me, I spend money on things I enjoy. And you should too. But don't spend money you don't have on things that you enjoy. Spend the money that you have you have left over after you've taken care of all your necessities and your priorities. So leisure's up there too. You better prioritize fun and things that you enjoy. Hey, pleasure fits over here. Nothing wrong with pleasure. Just don't go searching for happiness inside of pleasure. So this is really the snapshot of what the budget would look like. Real quick, this is a sample budget. And I know you can't quite read all the numbers there, so I kind of hooked y'all up a little bit. At the top, this is a sample budget of kind of a miniature budget of what I have, just to give you a visual of what it might look like hypothetically for you this year, 2 years, whatever the case is. Necessary expenses up top. Rent, car insurance. What I realized was there's no car payment up there because when I made this, I didn't have a car payment. My car was paid off. That's a goal too. So I didn't realize it, but you put your car payment there. Health insurance is up there if you have it. Cell phone, electricity, gas, maybe a minimum payment on your credit card so that you stay, on the positive, whatever it is. Total month necessary expenses for the month, necessary, $1,300. Okay. Discretionary expenses. This is not something you have to have or really, really need to survive. Discretionary, cable, gym, groceries, restaurants. Haircut's not up there, but that would probably be up there. Kind of need to get a haircut, but that still could be discretionary. Discretionary expenses, $425 a month. Okay. What's your income? Say you make $2,000 a month. Well, your monthly expenses, $1,725. So what do you have left? You got $275 at the end of your month. Maybe you put $50 in a savings account, 100 whatever 75 or whatever the balance is left. That's your money and hopefully you have more after that. That's how a budget works. Life's gonna happen. Things are gonna come up. This might not be the case. New bill might show up, old bill might, but this is really what you wanna look and pay attention to, because that's your financial situation in a nutshell. No matter what you wanna think or believe about it, that's your financial situation. That's what a budget does. Credit, don't have enough time to get into it. There's your teaser. I want to talk about credit so badly with you all, though. So if you're interested in learning more about credit, what credit is, why you need credit, what a credit score is, I want to do a part 2. Y'all want to see do a part 2? Y'all want to see a little bit about that? All right, so we'll talk about credit. We'll talk about why do we need credit? How can we use credit? What is a credit score in the next section here? How do you read your credit score? What is it based on? How do you improve it? I'll talk about that. And then credit cards, like I said, they're not the devil. And I will talk about investment a little bit and interest as well, but I am out of time. We did it, man. I didn't think we'd be able to do it, but we did it. Thank you all for coming.
I hope you found this workshop content useful and you're able to apply it to your relationship with money. Please leave any feedback you have for me in the comment section about this video, what you liked, what you learned, and what you may have to contribute to this conversation. I'd love to hear it. Then be sure to take what you learned here and watch part 2 of this workshop, where I talk about applying this mentality to some basic financial concepts and strategies to get your relationship with money off to a healthy start. Take care.